Thank you, Speaker. And it should come as no surprise, of course, that on this side of the House we're opposed to the government business program because once again we've been denied the ability to consider, particularly the energy bill, in detail, which I think we could all agree, the devil often lies in the detail, and without the ability to properly scrutinise these things, then history has shown that we have to come back and make amendments, and it takes up very important time on the legislative agenda when we could be really helping communities in regional and rural areas and across all of Victoria with issues like cost of living. Instead, there's a few things on the government business program this week that could certainly hurt the cost of living and increase it for Victorians. Now, I've been spending a bit of time this morning talking to the member for Narrabeen, who has done a power of work with regard to the building legislation amendment, the Buyer Protection Bill 2024. Member for Narrabeen, he may have 2025, sorry, not 2024, I've lost a few months. Member for Narrabeen, some might argue, that has few levels of expertise, but building and construction is one of them, and one that he's very, I don't think he'd argue that point with me, but it is certainly, that's true, it is certainly a point of expertise for him, and he is very common sense in his approach and puts it in terms that buyers, the common man that are buying a house, whether it's their first, second, third, whatever, can understand. And the point that he had made to me is that there are some issues with this, particularly with, and no one's arguing that purchasers of property shouldn't be protected. Of course they should. However, in a housing crisis, adding $30,000 approximately on average to the price of a house could be quite problematic in a housing crisis. Having builders potentially losing licences, again, problematic when we are already struggling to get tradies, builders, to perform these duties in a housing crisis. I mean, and we hear the government talk about how they're delivering houses and they're delivering X amount, and though it all becomes white noise, Member for Lowndes' family, who own a Mitre 10, are actually delivering more houses practically on the ground right now. So on this government business program, there are three important issues, particularly for us at the Nationals: housing, roads, essentially, and energy. I was at, as Speaker well knows, we sat on the panel at the Women's Climate Congress over the weekend, and there are some very differing perspectives. And I noticed last night that Farms for Food again held another forum regarding this, and of course they, along with other advocacy groups, not against renewables and a cleaner energy and more sustainability, not at the cost of regional Victoria and not at the cost of farms that produce food. So we are all looking forward again to all us at the Nationals, who again are holding up the speaking programs on this side of the House, looking forward to discussing the energy bill, and of course transport and e-scooters. I would like to think that e-scooters might become part of the landscape in tropical North Victoria, given that we're now a tourism destination. We always have been a tourism destination, but with the launching of the Field of Lights last weekend, which is magnificent, absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, the minister couldn't attend, but it just adds to our offering. So it'd be great to see e-scooters also also enter the landscape in a tourist destination like Mildura. However, for those that have to charge them themselves, because energy prices are too high, it's too expensive to charge e-scooters, and anyway, riding them around in regional and rural areas, you'd end up hitting a pothole and breaking an arm and then have to be taken to the hospital where you could possibly sit in the waiting room for 6 hours anyway. So you can see how these bills have the flow-on effects, one after the other. But looking forward to holding up that speaking list.